ми просто копаємо якісь дуже глибокі, важкі теми. Але це, для цього театр, мабуть, теж потрібен.
At the end of the day, the division is not an essay, it's not an article, it's not a book. It's about being in space with these ideas. And so for me, it's been very important to talk to community members and to share what I'm developing. Also with my family. Temperature gets so hot we can't actually have a dialogue about it. I'd be so curious to know if you would tell me how he felt.
Шановні глядачі, ми сьогодні є на репетиції вистави Андрія Кушніра «Division», яка відбуватиметься у Крав-театрі від 21 квітня до 17 травня. І зараз я маю приємність говорити із актором, режисером, а також драматургом Андрієм Кушніром. Andrew, congratulations on your play being shown, performed at the Carlaw Theatre. And this is very important step for you in your career and in your personal life as well. Tell us, please, about the name of the play, Division. What's in the name?
Yeah, there are worlds in the name. There's family, there's this notion of time, there's discovery around family mythology. My Dido was in the Divizia, and so, and I only really put the pieces together around his wartime story after he died in 2018. My Dido was a watchmaker. I'm actually holding, this is the Zenith Extra 56, RR56, which is quite a famous timepiece that he created. And I always knew him as a watchmaker growing up. And my Dido was a really big personality. He was a real patriot, a big community figure in Montreal. And then after he passed away, I started to discover aspects of his immigrant story and his soldier story. And particularly as we find ourselves in this war and, the propaganda and the ways in which history has become weaponized, it's become very clear that my family history, my personal history, is intersecting with world history. And so the division explores all of that.
You started saying a little bit that you approach this topic now because of the war in Ukraine and propaganda. And division could have other meaning as well. Like, how did you approach this very sensitive historical topic?
This history is very contested. It's very contentious history. My approach as an artist is to find as many perspectives as I can. And so the play is constructed from interviews. I traveled over 19,000 kilometers through Switzerland, Ukraine, Poland, Italy, made my way back to Canada the way my Dido would have after serving in the division. And my whole focus was to collect as many perspectives as I could so that when an audience joins us in this play, they can think for themselves. They can encounter the facts, the truths as they've been discovered by historians and those who lived through that time. And we can together in the theater sit with that and arrive at our own conclusions as opposed to some of these propagandic narratives or the extent to which sometimes mainstream media, even in our own country, inflames the story or tries to make it salacious or, we know clickbait, right, online. It tries to lure us in. This is trying to slow things down and come at this history in a much more personal, much more emotion-based way.
As you were creating the script, obviously it's based on the stories you recorded from your Dido, but also what kind of research you also done and maybe spoke with anybody else to gather your materials? Yeah,
well, I spoke to historians all through Ukraine, and there are a number that are in England and in Canada that have contributed perspectives. But I've also gone on to read, for instance, a big influence is In the Maelstrom by Miroslav Škandrij. And I'm very happy to say that Miroslav is coming from Winnipeg to do an event in the last week of our run. And so it's been very important to me to bounce my this is a work of art. That at the end of the day, the division is not an essay. It's not an article. It's not a book. It's about being in space with these ideas. And so for me, it's been very important to talk to community members and to share what I'm developing, also with my family.
The cast of the play is very long. There's a very long list. How do you approach this maybe problem for the producer or director?
Oh, what do you mean in terms of in terms of how many characters
Yes,
there are in
yes,
it? Yeah, I think
yes,
there are something like 40 characters. So, you know, we have 5 actors, and I got the best actors. You know, these are people that know how to transform through all sorts of, you know, we're doing very, very intricate intercultural work. We have a dialect coach, we're doing language coachings. We're trying to find a way to allow these 5 actors to transform. And so I think that's what makes the division very theatrical and pleasurable, is that the audience is gonna go, oh, I just saw him as a Ukrainian historian, and now I'm seeing him as this British guy. And, you know, there's this kind of, the many hats that we wear in the theater, and the joy in that.
Okay. So that's Andrew Kushnir, director, who comes into his work comes to be seen.
All reimagined and restored.
Statues unsheathed of their protective white sandbags. Skies unstreaked of rockets.
The grain.
This play impacts me in powerful ways because my family came from Ukraine, but a Jewish family, so experienced the world through that lens, left in 1924, but I've been back to visit and went on a journey similar to Andrei's in this play, where he goes back to his grandfather's village and he tries to understand everything about his grandfather. And the truth and the integrity of that search is inspiring from this play, and it just reminds me how understanding our past helps us in our present and into the future.
Tell us about the protagonist, because when I was watching you rehearse, he's like your twin brother, but obviously he's not related. Tell us about
Daniel Maslany is playing me in the piece, and I think it's really important that I don't play myself in this play. It's been very powerful to be able to stand outside of it and to help shape the story. And Daniel is this incredible actor. He's, you know, I've seen him on stage before, but he's also very well known for his TV work. And I guess it's a coincidence that he's, you know, he has Ukrainian background and he has curly hair and
looking a little bit like you.
He sort of has a similar energy to me, but I also think he's quite transformative. And so what you would have seen in terms of our rehearsal, I think he's imitating me very well. You know, I think he knows how to play Andrei Kushnir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. What about the other actors?
So Ivy Charles is from Vancouver. I worked with Ivy on a project there and had an incredible experience with her. Alon Nashman is in this piece. He was part of my Stratford Festival Encountering Ukraine series. I worked with him in workshops before, and he's been to Ukraine before, so he has a very, very extraordinary perspective on Ukraine. Maria Khomutova, who people will know from First Métis Man of Odessa, incredible actor here in Canada. I'd say, you know, one of our great Ukrainian-Canadian actors from Ukraine. And then Carl Ang, who's also did the series in Stratford with me. And I've seen Carl for years and years and years in shows, and he's such a transformer. He just knows how to do this kind of work perfectly.
Я зрозуміла, що в мене дуже багато прогавин. Я багато чого не знала, а те, що знала, воно якби присипано було вже якимись штампами або забуттям. Ось, і тому перші 2 репетиції ми взагалі просто робили слайди, ми дивились фотографії, карти, просто робили цей ресерч історичний, який дуже важкий, і історія України періоду Другої світової війни – це важка історія. І зрозуміти, як там фронт передвигався з заходу на схід, потім з східу на захід знову, що, як розтерзані українці були між цих 2 лагерей, між цих 2 кемпс. Це важка історія, і якби погрузитись туди, перші 2 репетиції, було якимось важливим досвідом людським, перш за все.
So starting point for this performance, this play, was your Dido story.
Yeah.
Your Dido is already gone. If he were here today, what would you like to ask him?
Oh, I mean...
Just one question.
One question, you know, I think I would need an hour with him. I think, I would need an hour of his time, I want to understand how he became a watchmaker given what he saw and what it meant to reinvent himself coming to this country. I want to know what he saw, what he experienced. And perhaps the maybe the most dangerous question, how did it make him feel? I think it's very hard for us to talk about our feelings when it comes to this history. Often the temperature gets so hot we can't actually have a dialogue about it. I'd be so curious to know if you would tell me how he felt. And I think that's why this has to be a theater piece for me, because theater is all about feeling. It's all about having an experience and allowing our hearts to be opened up to big, big questions that may be otherwise, unbearable. Yeah.
Well, Andrea, thank you very much. And I understand this is Yedida's actual work.
It is. This is the very famous Zenith Extra RR56. It's the last railway grade pocket watch ever made for Canadian trains. So he worked with Zenith in Switzerland and made this. And even as recently as a few weeks ago, I showed this to some watch collectors. And people are so impressed by this. I think it's beautiful, but if you collect watches and know watches, apparently it is really a work of art. Yeah.
Amazing. It's really beautiful. Division, Crow's Theatre.
Yeah, at Crow's Theatre.
Crow's Theatre.
We start performances on April 21st, and currently we run through May 17th. And we have a lot of shows that are already sold out, and so I encourage people to get onto the Crow's website, get their tickets, and we have the performances we've added towards the end of the run are really good to snap up seats for.
That's very good to know. Thank you very much. And so get your tickets because the time is ticking.